What's up, everybody? Welcome to a quick Saturday update video. The Chiefs have made some roster moves before this game, Sunday Night Football against the Chargers. So I want to talk about that real quick here because it involves a couple wide receivers. We like to talk about wide receivers around here. But let me talk first about Mecole Hardman because this was the first move that we really need to talk about. He popped up on the injury report yesterday with a knee issue. Andy Reid said that it locked up on him and he was getting evaluated when Andy Reid was talking to the media. So we just knew right off the jump that there was something going on with Mecole. He was questionable to play. We didn't know the extent of it, though, until today. I got a couple messages last night that said, hey, Mecole Hardman might be getting placed on IR, so keep an eye out for it. And it did happen. So whatever's going on with Mecole Hardman's knee, it's bad enough that he's going to be missing at least the next 4 weeks, which 4 weeks from now is basically the playoffs. So we'll see if he ends up coming back at all this season or not. Obviously, he didn't really do much on offense this year, but he was basically the team's dedicated punt returner. He's been solid. He hasn't been housing a bunch of stuff or anything like that, but he hasn't been fumbling. He hasn't been muffing punts. And he's been fine. Well, what you need then, if you're going to put Mecole Hardman on IR, again, not a huge loss to the offense, but he was their returner and he was solid. You need another receiver who can do that. And so what they did is they did not opt to go with signing Montrell Washington to the roster, who actually has more NFL experience. He was signed to the Chiefs roster or elevated multiple times. I think last year, or it might have been the year prior. I think it was last year when Mecole Hardman got hurt and we needed a dedicated punt returner. He was kind of the guy. So I thought, hey, maybe Montrell Washington would get the next look. Well, no, it's going to be Nikko Remigio, who is signed to the active roster. So he's probably going to be your returner, and then maybe he'll work in some capacity with the offense. I know that's what a lot of you are kind of like, hey, what about Mecole to the offense? What would that look like? And I don't know because we haven't really seen him out there, right? This is the guy talking about Nikko Remigio that was a UDFA in 2023, was having a fun training camp last year, making splash plays, catches. He ended up hurting his shoulder and having to go out on season-ending IR, which is a bummer. But he makes a roster again this year, and he was one of the practice squad guys. Didn't make the 53, but he made the practice squad and has been on there all year, and he's had several seasons under his belt, at least in the Chiefs organization. A couple seasons now. 5'9", 187. So again, one of your smaller, gadgety type guys, but from Fresno State, and he's got quite a bit of experience here. If we look at his college stats, because that's really all we have to go on, talking about Nikko Remigio. If you're just tuning in, he was just signed to the active roster after Mecole Hardman was placed on IR. But look, he's had plenty of games in his college career. His last year, he played 14 games, caught 74 passes for 852 yards and 6 touchdowns, and even had 6 carries for 42. But what I want you to also look at is his college career. He had a lot of punt returns. I mean, 57 career punt returns in college, and he did a couple kick returns as well, which, more than a couple. He's done 41. I was looking at this too, but he's had 2 punt return touchdowns. So he's housed a couple, but then he has 41 kick returns under his belt in college as well. So this is kind of what I'm getting at with Nikko Remigio. You're going to get a guy who, yeah, he can work in the offense, and maybe he will in some packages, some small ways. Like, I don't know that he's going to see an overwhelming amount of snaps on offense, but you're going to get a guy who has plenty of kick return experience. He can do that. You're going to get a guy who can return punts. He has plenty of experience doing that as well. So the Chiefs, upon placing Mecole Hardman with this knee issue, don't know if he needs surgery, don't know the extent of the knee issue. I will check Twitter again in a minute to see if there's any updates. But with Mecole Hardman going to IR, you've got Nikko Remigio being signed to the active roster, and they did also elevate a couple guys from the practice squad. They activated him via standard elevation for game day for tomorrow night's game. That's a linebacker, Swayze Bozeman, and then tight end Baylor Cupp. Last week, they went with Anthony Firkser, elevated him. but you only get so many elevations on a practice squad guy before you have to sign them to the active roster. So they're probably like, well, let's not use let's not use all of his stuff, basically. All of his elevations, rather. So they elevated Baylor Cup, which we know why, because the Chiefs have like no tight ends on their roster because all the other tight ends have been hurt other than Kelsey and Gray. But those are the moves. Nikko Remigio is now on the 53-man roster. He will most likely be the team's dedicated punt returner, some kick returns as well. The question is, how much will he work into the offense? Don't know. But it's unfortunate for Mecole. He's battled injuries a couple years now. He had, I think it was 2 years ago, rather, but he was on IR. He had the groin injury. He had surgery, was with the Jets, and then you traded for him last year. He might have got a little banged up last year even, but he's on IR again, and it's just tough sledding for the Chiefs' former second-round draft pick. But Nicole Hardman, Nikko Remigio. I got Nikko and Mecole switched in my head. But Nikko, this is a guy that is like a fan favorite. A lot of people are like, hey, we want to see this guy make some moves on the field, on offense, in a real game. Well, you might get to see that in some capacity, but he'll for sure be returning punts and kicks. Chaos with the 9 months. What the hell happened? Yeah, I don't know. We don't have any details on what exactly happened to Mecole Hardman's knee. Andy Reid posted about it, or told media about it yesterday. It was posted all over social media yesterday that Mecole Hardman, right before team period of practice, so really before practice started, they were like warming up, his knee, per the words of Andy Reid, locked up on him. I don't know what that means. But if his knee is serious enough to need to be placed on IR, he could be needing surgery. Could be a meniscus. Like, I just don't know. I don't want to speculate because there's so many things that it could be. Like, I hope it's not a torn ACL or anything major. I have no idea. We'll probably find that out tomorrow, or we might find that out here from an insider later today. But that's all we know right now about Mecole Hardman. He hurt his knee yesterday at practice. It locked up, and he's now being placed on IR and is going to have to miss at least the next 4 games. So that's the Chargers game, the Browns game, the Texans game, and the Steelers game for Christmas. I believe he could potentially have his window to return opened up after that. But again, depending on how serious the knee is, we might not see him again for the season. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much there. Jabin with the 2, excited for Remigio, but hate this for Hardman. Yeah, I don't like seeing anybody injured. Mecole's fun to use on the offense in a bunch of different ways because of his speed. I wonder if Nikko Remigio has an RAS, because that would give us several things about Nikko with his 40 time and all that stuff compared to like Mecole Hardman, because we know Mecole runs a sub 4.3 40. Or right around a 4.3 40, somewhere around there. Again, smaller bodied guy, but here's a little bit of info on Nikko. But Jay with the 20s. Oh, here, what the heck? Jay with the 20 bomb actually gave us Nikko stats. I'm glad I looked at this. Jay, thanks so much for the 20 bomb, man. But this is what he said. I'll put it up on screen because it's got some stats attached. But he said Nikko ran a 4.56 to 4.57 40. Tyquan Thornton ran a 4.28 compared to Hardman's 4.33 40. Seems Tyquan Thornton is more similar to Mecole Remigio over Thornton because Nikko knows the offense better. Okay, yeah, so Tyquan Thornton, former second-round pick that the Patriots just recently let go. The Chiefs signed to the practice squad. I think there's multiple reasons why we're not seeing Tyquan Thornton on the roster over Nikko. Nikko's been in the system for 2 or 3 years. He knows the offense. Tyquan Thornton does not. Did Tyquan Thornton, I wonder what his college stats look like. I don't know off the top of my head if, because he is a faster guy. He's definitely faster than Nikko, but did he return a bunch of punts and kicks? Because I have a feeling, he did have some kick returns, but no punt return experience. So if you're wondering well, why didn't they at least sign Tyquan Thornton to the active over Nikko just because of his speed? He'd be more of a guy that you could use in the punt game. He's been in the NFL. I'd have to look at his NFL stats, but I don't think he's returned punts. Not really. He's done kicks. He's returned kicks, but not punts. He is faster, but Nikko knows the offense, and they're going to trust that guy. Here's the thing. if you're going to be the punt returner for the Kansas City Chiefs, I understand Mecole was fast, but you don't have to be that fast. You just need to catch the damn ball. Don't muff it, and don't give the opposing team close field position. Like, just don't do what Sky Moore did, and that's no offense to Sky Moore. I don't want to kick him while he's down. He's on IR himself, but you just don't want costly errors and costly mistakes, and that's all you need. You just need a returner that's going to be reliable, that's going to be dependable, and that is exactly what Mecole Hardman was, and that is hopefully exactly what Nikko Remigio is going to be as well. Nefarious with the 20 said 2024 NFL season is the 2024 IR season. I'll show you the list of IR because it is insane. It's not just the Chiefs. Is Amir injuries severely increased? Mashed you, wife, and the NFLPA will bring this up, and the season length will last 2 years. What? Mashed you, wife, or the NFL? I feel like there's a typo in this. But yeah, you're talking about the NFLPA. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look up and see if, like, I would have to research the stat on injuries and see if they're up, but it does seem like a lot. Last year, a lot of quarterbacks went down. This year, it just feels like there's just a lot of injuries in general, which has been rather unfortunate. Look at all the people on IR, and Nefarious, thanks so much for the 20 bomb. If you have a correction in chat, let me know. I'll try to look for it. But look at how many people have been placed on IR by the Kansas City Chiefs. Or this is not even everybody that's been placed. This is everybody that is currently on IR. Hollywood Brown right now, Harrison Butker, Jody Fortson, Mecole Hardman, McCade Matire, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Spencer Schrader, Jalen Watson, and Jared Wiley. Good God. And there's been people that have come off of IR. Pacheco came back. Omenihu came back off the NFI, or the PUP list, I think is what it was, because he started the season injured. But dude, you want to talk about a season of injuries? This is insane. But yeah, I'm not overly concerned. I'm more intrigued about Mecole Hardman or Nikko Remigio now having Mecole Hardman's role on punts, only because, like, we've wanted to see Nikko out there and we've wanted to see him also on the offense, and now their hands kind of been forced and you get to see that. I just hope he's reliable as Mecole Hardman was on punts. Did Mecole Hardman have a ton of huge returns? No, but he didn't really fumble the ball either, like, at all. So that's all you can hope for with Nikko Remigio. You guys got to let me know your thoughts on the signing in the comments down below. This is my quote-unquote day off, but I knew this was coming, so I had the live stream prepped. I just didn't know they were going to sign Nikko Remigio to the active roster, which is pretty exciting because I thought it was going to be Montreal, Washington. They opted for Nikko, but let me know your thoughts on in the comments down below. Well wishes for Mecole, of course. Well, wish him well, but then let me know your thoughts on Nikko being signed to the active roster and what you, in your opinion, realistically expect of him. So let me know, and I'll be back tomorrow for the live play-by-play reaction, Sunday Night Football, Chargers, Chiefs. So until then, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about the Chiefs?